The hype around Star Wars Battlefront 2 is getting bigger and bigger, and with it a push is being made to finally get EA so far as to create Battlefront 3. I too would love to see a new Battlefront game, and I've been playing some Battlefront 2 recently as well. But before the hype for a new Battlefront game started, the last time I played was about 1.5 years ago, and before that the gap was even bigger. But the Star Wars game I've actually been playing way more regularly in this time is actually Star Wars Battlefront 1. So why do I gravitate towards a game that has a way smaller player base and a lot less content as well? Allow me to explain.
Battlefront 2 is great, you know. You can play a fun campaign, get slaughtered by people who actually know what they're doing in Heroes vs. Villains, and experience a living nightmare. But there is one aspect it's lacking in, and that Battlefront 1 does a lot better in my opinion. And that is co-op PvE. There is a co-op mode in Battlefront 2, but that doesn't really feel all too different from online gameplay, and it also doesn't necessarily feel rewarding when completed.
Battlefront 1, however, has what is one of my absolute favorite co-op shooter experiences: survival. Surprise, surprise. I've made it no secret I like survival, because when I started making YouTube videos, that's basically the only thing I covered. But anyway, I've played survival a lot. I think I have about 75 hours in Battlefront 1, and I can guarantee that at least 80% of that time was spent playing survival. So, what is it that I love so much about it?
Well, in survival, you and a teammate are dropped on a planet, and all you need to do is get the f*** out of there.
Because glub shitto planted a bomb or something, I don't know.
But the Imperials are after you, and you've got to survive for 15 waves before you can be picked up. The troopers get stronger with each wave, and every third wave, ATSTs and or TIE fighters are sent as well. There's also pods dropped that you can claim for some strong items, there's turrets spread among the map you can use, etc. The concept is very simple, and because of that you might think that there's not a lot of replay value to it. But that couldn't be further from the truth, because damn, it is easy to sink hours into this.
So let's go ahead and look at some things that I think really make this mode shine. Number 1, map variety.
The mode has 6 different maps you can play on that all have their own uniqueness to them. Tatooine, Sullust, Endor, Hoth, Ice Caves, and Rebel Depot.
My favorite Star Wars planet.
Each of these maps differ greatly in design. Tatooine is very open with a lot of elevation change, Hoth is a lot more closed off, and Sullust has a big open section but also a hangar you can take shelter in. What's also nice about these is that different maps come with different vehicular enemies. Endor, Tatooine and Hoth have ATSTs coming after you, Ice Caves has TIE fighters, and Sullust has both.
Because why have fun when you can suffer?
The only map without vehicles is Rebel Depot, but that switches it up by sending some more probe droids and switching up the order in which the different stormtroopers come into play. This all makes each map feel distinct from one another, which means coming up with different strategies for each map.
And something that ties in with that is aspect number 2, fantastic weapon roster.
If there is one thing I love about survival, and probably this game in general, it's the weapon roster. The thing is, if you play online, there are weapons that will just work better than others, and using some bad ones means you just don't stand a chance. In survival, however, it is just so fun to dick around and see if you can actually win using the shittiest weapons in the game. And the variety is so good. You've got everything from a sniper that can shoot only once before having to cool down, to a rifle with a bladed melee attack, to even a revolver that you actually need to reload, and many, many more. These weapons are straight garbage in PvP, but they are so fun to use in survival. It allows for so many different playstyles, and you can take it as seriously as you'd like. On top of that, the different types of maps allow for different types of weapons to be used. On maps like Tatooine, it's probably more useful to select something that's good at long and close range. But on a map like Hoth, you can very well manage to win by using a shock blaster.
It is just ridiculously fun to try out all the weapons, and that brings me to the third point I want to make: fun gameplay loop. Probably the most important thing.
Survival just doesn't get boring. The variety in maps and weapons make it so that you can play over and over again. But what adds even more replayability are the achievements. You can get these for beating a map on normal, hard and master difficulty, as well as completing the level with no deaths and finding all collectibles. Especially beating the game on master difficulty can get insanely difficult. On many of the maps, master difficulty is absolutely brutal, and so strategizing is incredibly important. This means trying different weapons, hands, and positioning to get a good run. I found this to be very fun and addictive, because losing on the higher difficulties doesn't feel unfair. It just means you need to make a better battle plan, and that's where the fun of survival lies in my opinion.
But no matter how well you strategize, something unexpected will always find you. Which brings me to point number 4. Bullshit guaranteed.
No matter how many times I play this, there will always be some absolute stupidity happening. Whether it's enemies glitching, making crazy shots, trying to jump on an AZST, or just the complete stress of being overwhelmed by like 20 stormtroopers at once, it all makes for some of the most hilarious gaming memories I've got. I think a clip from this video I made 2 years ago sums it up pretty well.
Ja, ik zit met die heavies, jongen. Ik zit met die heavies.
Nee, ik kom gewoon wegspringen.
Ja, zo werkt dat niet. Ik heb het jet al gebruikt.
The friend I played it with and I still quote some of the stuff that happened in that video, so I guess that says enough about how much we enjoyed it.
If you want to check it out, you can probably click somewhere over here. It is a very old video, so don't expect too much. And it's also in Dutch with English subtitles, because I thought that was a good idea for some reason.
Now, of course, me really enjoying this game mode, I'd love to see it added to a hypothetical Battlefront 3. So here's a list of things I'd love to see improved and added were this to be implemented. I would love to see more maps based on the 3 different movie trilogies like in Battlefront 2, in which you'll fight level-specific enemies. So let's say you play as clone troopers, you'll face off against battle droids, then super battle droids, commandos, droidicas, etc. But then also make it so that you can play as droids against clones, and do the same thing for the other time periods to create even more variety than already is in Battlefront 1. I also think it would be cool to see a different selection of like 10 to 15 weapons per time period that you unlock straight from the start without having to play online, instead of making them class specific like in Battlefront 2. And of course, I also wouldn't mind being able to play with up to 4 people. So basically, just combine the best things about Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 2 in one crazy survival mode. But then finally, I think it would be amazing to see something like Hero Survival. In this you'd play as, let's say, Obi-Wan and Anakin, facing off against progressively stronger droids like in regular survival. But then there are also more vehicles and bigger enemies to fight against, with the final wave consisting of Count Dooku and his guards. I honestly think that would make the survival modes some of the most enjoyable experiences in the game. And this shouldn't be too difficult to create, I think, because a lot of Battlefront 2 assets could just be reused for this. I don't know anything about game design though, so I might be grossly mistaken, but I think it should be fairly doable.
So, EA? Pretty please?
I know the chances are small they're actually going to listen, but if we keep letting them know what it is we want to see, eventually they're going to have to. So be sure to let me know your take on Battlefront 1 and survival in the comments, and don't forget to share what you'd like to see in a potential Battlefront 3. And let's all keep at it so that we can finally make Battlefront 3 a reality.
So that marks the end of my little ode to survival. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. I usually make videos about games you are probably nostalgic for, like Sly Cooper and Skylanders, for example. So if that's something you're interested in, be sure to give those videos a watch, and I'll gladly see you in the next one.